This video we're going to go over continue and break, and these are two statements that let us control the flow of a loop. And the basic idea is that we can have a loop that's running. Sometimes we want to skip one iteration. So if a certain thing happens, let's say there's an error, or we just need to skip certain parts of our list or our data or whatever, then we just want to skip that iteration and go back and start the next one. And that's what continue will do. And then break means completely stop the loop, jump out of the loop, and continue with the rest of the code. And sometimes we need to do that. Let's say a user presses the button for quit, and we say, okay, that's stop the show, stop the program, jump out of that loop, and go on to whatever else you're supposed to do. Or if there's some catastrophic error, maybe stop the whole program and print some error or reload thing or whatever you want to do. So we're going to show the basic syntax for this. So first we just need a simple while loop. So I'm just going to make an int I equals 0 for my index, and now I'm going to make a while loop. So while let's see, while I is less than 10, let's print out I. Okay, so if we just run it like this, it's just going to give us a simple while loop that's going to print out 0 through 9. But let's say, for whatever reason, we wanted to skip 7. So what we could do is just put in here, if I equals 7, so then continue. And so now it's going to go through the loop, but it's going to skip the 7th iteration. So it's going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, skip 7, 8, 9. Let's see that. Oops. I forgot to increment my index, and so now I have an infinite loop, which we don't want. So I'm going to stop that from running over there, and I'm going to add in my I++. Let's try that again. Okay, so wait a minute. This isn't doing what it's seemingly supposed to do, because it only went to 6, and continue is supposed to go to the next iteration and continue with 8. And so I didn't originally intend to do this, but then I saw it. I figured I'll leave this error in because it's good to see these kind of mistakes, and I wasn't just thinking through exactly what was going to happen. So if we think about our code, remember, it just goes line by line. While I is less than 10, if I equals 7, continue, it's going to continue right there. So as soon as it gets to continue, it's going to jump back. But my increment statement is down here. So that means that once I equals 7, it just keeps jumping back to here. I is still less than 10, but I is still equal to 7. It continues. It just goes back and forth, and it never gets down to the rest of this code. It never finishes the loop, but it never is able to increment I either. So the solution, at least one solution to this, is let's say we could put this increment up here. So now we're going to increment before that condition, but now we're not going to get 0 printed out. We're just going to get 1 through 10 printed out, but we'll be able to see how this continue works. So, and you see I had to do stop and rerun because it never finished that loop. That loop just was running infinitely in the background. Okay, here we have it. So it's printed out 1 through 10, but if we look, it skipped 7 because when it got to 7, it went on to continue. Now, if instead of continue, I would put here break, it would be the same, almost the same thing, but once I equals 7, it will stop the loop. So it will only go up to 7, and it won't even print out 7. It will do 1 through 6, and then it will just stop the code completely. So let's just run that and see how that goes. And as expected, we get 1 through 6 printed out. Once it got to 7, it broke out of the loop, it finished the program, and so we get this finished and exit code 0 that it finished without errors. So in the sheet, I have an example where we could use continue and break to create like an alarm clock program that will print out the current day, and if it's a weekday, it will tell you got to get up, and if it's a weekend, it will tell you can sleep in. And that's just an example where you can practice using continue and break, and I'll post that's on your sheets.